So for me, I know that without a belief in God, I was an unhappy person. I was suicidal. I had nothing to live for, no hope. I know that by Allah's mercy, I have been shown a way of life which I feel gives me a purpose and a positive one.
But the point is,
I'm now charitable.
Halo pencinta Speakers Corner. Kelihatannya ada saja orang-orang bule Inggris yang mualaf, seperti halnya di video berikut ini. Seorang bule Inggris yang menurut pengakuannya belum cukup lama menjadi muslim. Dia datang ke Speakers Corner dan mencoba beradu argumen dengan Bob the Lion. Mungkin dia merasa sudah mempunyai cukup pengetahuan mengenai Islam, sehingga dia berani melawan Bob. Paling tidak, dia merasa sangat yakin pada kebenaran Islam, sebab dia merasakan setelah menjadi muslim, kehidupannya berubah ke arah yang lebih baik. Nah, apakah pengetahuan mualaf ini mampu menjawab pertanyaan Bob? Dan apa sajakah yang mereka bincangkan? Mari simak videonya dan tonton sampai habis ya, sebab di akhir video saya akan memberikan tanggapan, dan bagi yang ingin memberikan komentar silakan, tentunya dengan memakai kata-kata yang baik. Dukung terus usaha penerjemahan di channel ini dengan like dan subscribe.
All you have a rhetoric. What's the age of Mary in the Bible?
I'm not saying a specific age.
What?
My point was that you said...
Right, so what were you trying to say?
Over me.
Let's have a conversation, come on, let's have a conversation.
From what I understood of your point, you were saying it is valid for Mary to be pregnant because she had reached the age of puberty.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, so
what I said was
about her having reached the age
what
of
I
puberty?
said was
what was the point in relation to that?
No, right. The words "she has reached the age of puberty" didn't pass my lips. What I actually said, if you had listened to what I had said, was that the fact that she could travel independently and that she was old enough to have a child.
So would that not
Let
be
me
the
finish.
same thing as puberty?
I thought we weren't talking over one another.
Try it then.
Shall we? Let's have a conversation.
Okay.
Right. Calm down. No one's your dimmy.
I've got an orange slipper, I'm blessed.
Yeah. No one's. I envy you right now. So the fact that Mary. Remember, it was God that gave Mary her pregnancy.
Okay.
So God, the all-knowing, knows when someone is ready to have a child. And he was the one that caused her to be pregnant. Therefore, what we know is that she was old enough to have a child. The Bible doesn't give an age, but your hadiths do. Your hadiths say 6 and 9.
That's one hadith from one source in one book.
Are you saying Bukhari was wrong?
There are multiple scholars and sources. I'm not saying he was right or wrong. I'm just saying it's not as clear-cut as you're presenting.
Give me one that gives a different age.
I'm not going to quote a specific hadith, but if anyone's watching this, Google it, and there is not one fixed opinion. There are multiple opinions. However, the point I was trying to make is you somehow justified that Mary was ready to bear a child, therefore it was okay.
Clearly.
Okay, so if a female has reached the age of puberty, I don't think even you are saying, even in whatever interpretation of Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, you are not saying that she had not reached the age of puberty, right?
Can I reply to that?
Sure, of course.
Right. So firstly, you're absolutely wrong to say that there is a hadith that gives another age. There isn't. Let me finish. The only hadiths that say that she was 6 and 9 are Sahih al-Bukhari.
Okay.
The arguments that she was older than that are just arguments that you've been duped by Muslim apologists who are demoting Sahih al-Bukhari because they're embarrassed by Sahih al-Bukhari. Now, coming to your point about puberty, right? The hadith, that's fine, that's totally fine, I fully appreciate it. And I appreciate the fact we're having a calm conversation. But Sahih al-Bukhari is explicit, she was 6 and prepubescent when the nikah happened.
Sure.
Now, do you agree with me that prepubescent children are not mature enough to consent to marriage?
I think by our modern paradigm, that would be the case. What I would say is potentially at the time, A, it was a cultural norm, and B, the lifespan was much shorter. So, and someone who was at a younger age, percentage-wise, would be a lot further through their life, for example. And my understanding is it was a cultural norm, right? My understanding is it was her father who wanted this to occur.
Can I reply?
Of course.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. It was a cultural norm. But female genital mutilation is a cultural norm. Throwing widows onto the bonfires of their husband's cremation pyre is a cultural norm.
Yeah.
Killing children as sacrifices is a cultural norm. In other words, the defense that it is a cultural norm is not a defense. That's the point I was making by that. So secondly, but you were right, it was a cultural norm.
Yeah.
The second problem with your defense, right, is that if she was prepubescent, right, the fact that people died earlier in those days doesn't mean that they were more mature because of it. Let me explain why. The decision-making capacity of your brain is connected to the frontal lobe development.
Yeah, which is in the Quran.
Right? The frontal lobe development occurs after puberty. If Aisha reached puberty at 9, and just for the sake of this argument, I'll give it you, that means that she didn't have those frontal lobes at 6, and she could not make a mature decision.
Was this known at the time?
Of course not.
So how would it be possible to judge people by something?
Great example. Great question. Because this is why we know Muhammad never had a hot wire to God. Because Muhammad is your example. Muhammad didn't know about frontal lobe development, and because he didn't know about frontal lobe development, he thought that a 6-year-old could give mature consent to marriage, which is physically impossible.
Okay, so my understanding of like neuroscience and whatnot is quite limited, but I believe the current state of affairs is people's brains don't fully develop until around 25.
Exactly.
Are you saying no one should get married until 25?
I'm actually in favour of raising the age of consent to 18.
To 18?
Yes.
But that would still be 7 years undeveloped, right?
No, because what you're talking about is you're right, the brain doesn't stop developing until 25, but obviously maturity emerges in stages.
Sure.
So the moment that a child bleeds doesn't mean that they're suddenly ready for marriage. That's a fallacy amongst the da'i. That's a fallacy amongst Muslim scholars who are trying to justify Muhammad's bad example to Muslims. But the reality is, if you go away, and I challenge you, bro, just go away and look into childhood development. Go and look into when does the moral part of the brain develop.
Sure, yeah.
It is post-puberty. It occurs halfway through puberty, right? So whenever puberty kicks in, your frontal lobe development is about halfway through that process. So obviously that's why every society in the world is raising the age of consent, because as we learn about childhood development, we recognise that having sex with 13-year-olds is wrong, and having sex with 12-year-olds is wrong, having sex with 9-year-olds is wrong, and marrying 6-year-olds is wrong.
I have very limited knowledge on the matter, so I'm not trying to argue from a perspective I don't know. My only contention is, my awareness is there are various opinions. My contention is, by all accounts, Aisha was not unhappy in that marriage. She was very happy to be a favoured wife of the Prophet, peace be upon him. And my suggestion would be to, because I'm just a revert Muslim, I don't have that much knowledge. I would say, I'd love to hear you debate Ali Dawah.
Ali Dawah runs away. He runs away.
I doubt that.
Challenge him to come and debate me and he'll run. I challenge you to go and challenge him. No, challenge him to come and debate me and he'll refuse.
Why don't you do it?
Because I have many times on camera and he runs away every single time. Go and look through Socofilms. We've got him on camera multiple times refusing to debate me, and the most recent one was just last Sunday when I challenged him to a debate and he refused to do it.
On what grounds?
On what grounds? He gave his answer was, I don't debate this person, and he came up with a load of bull.
Have you ever tried to debate Mohammed Hijab?
Yes.
Because I think he'd be a lot better than me.
Debates on
Whatever you can name.
I've challenged them all, bro. Shamsi, Mohammed Hijab, Ali Dawah, Mansour, Hashim, the lot.
Okay.
They all run. My point to you, bro, you can mention this question about happiness. 6 young children, their capacity to understand what makes them happy or unhappy at that point in their development is defined by their adults. That's why children who are being abused as children, even though they feel sad, they can't understand it, they can't express it. Aisha was abused by Muhammad in a culture that abused children. in a culture that abused children because they didn't know better and Muhammad didn't know better, but you know better. You know better, and a brother, he's not a Christian yet, but a revert to Islam just 2 weeks ago left Islam because he went and did the challenge I've just given to you. Go and look into childhood development.
Yeah.
His name's Luca. You can see him on our videos.
Okay.
He became a Muslim revert, and then he rejected Islam because he actually bothered to do the research, and he recognized that he doesn't want to follow a prophet that had sex with a child, that allowed his followers to rape women, that traded in slaves, that allowed people to be murdered, that called for genocide, and that allowed for the discrimination and persecution of religious minorities and the desecration of other people's religious sites. All of these things, do you condemn them or do you laud them?
I condemn anything that violates like consent.
Then you're a good man.
I go my own path. I believe fully in consent. Like,
you're a good man.
You're a much better man than most of the Muslims here.
Look, isn't not judged not lest ye be judged. So like, try live by that, innit?
No, bro, you don't understand what you're quoting.
Do I not?
No.
Tell me then, where am I wrong?
So when Christ said, but he said, judge not lest ye be judged, for whatever measure of meat ye judge a man, the same measure of meat shall be judged unto you. What he's saying is, it's not about don't judge, it's about having a charitable judgment. So it's about saying, right, that you need to recognize the sin in your own life before you go and condemn the sin in other people. But I do recognize the sin in my life. I don't want to have sex with children, right? And people that do should be condemned.
Yeah, but I don't think really anyone is suggesting in this time that that's okay.
I had a Muslim on camera, a Muslim woman, who said on camera that she is okay with marrying children. I'm asking you a question. Do you agree with child marriage?
Yes.
Do you agree with child marriage?
I'm not going to deny it.
Do you agree with child marriage?
Yes!
Right. That is the problem. And she won't condemn paedophilia. Do you condemn paedophilia?
No, I don't.
You don't condemn paedophilia. Did you hear that? Ali Dawah, on camera, we have him on Socofilms, has said, Ali Dawah, 1 second, bro, are you going to listen to me or are you just going to try and sidestep? Are you just going to try and sidestep? You asked me to debate. Are you listening? Are you listening? Are you listening? So you asked me to speak to Ali Dawah. We have Ali Dawah saying on film.
He's 6 foot behind you.
Ali Dawah said on camera he would marry his children.
You asked me, would I allow my kids to get married at night? I'm not saying the analogy is wrong. I will teach in the future the woman has to be sexually, mentally, and physically ready. That means that if my daughter, if my daughter wants to be hold on, let me finish. If my daughter reaches the age of menstruation at 9 years old, I will say you are ready. You are ready to get married.
The moment they became, we have him on camera, bro.
I'm not him.
Right, but here's the point I'm making to you. Is you're a better man than Muhammad.
Thanks be to God.
No, you are a better man than Muhammad. Do you condemn slavery?
Of course I condemn slavery.
Muhammad practiced slavery. Do you condemn him?
He made a major act of charity to
he did.
slaves,
he did.
Which was a transition out of the norms at the time.
And he traded in slaves.
Do you believe
and
in the
he
Old
traded
Testament?
in slaves. No, hold on. Do you condemn sex with children?
Yes, I do.
Muhammad had sex with a child. Do you condemn? Do you condemn him? Do you condemn? Do you condemn? No, don't. Do you condemn? Do you condemn raping female captives?
Yes, of course.
Muhammad permitted his followers to rape their female captives.
That's a misconception.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, I do.
So did he allow?
Okay, can I make a counterpoint, or are you just going to
Go on.
endlessly berate
Go on.
me? I don't mean that in a rude way. Like, there is a record in the times shortly after the Prophet's time, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. One of the companions was alleged to have had non-consensual sex with a captive of war. They were executed for it. I do not have the particular name. I could find it given the time, but to me that is a strong evidence that there was never any permission to do something that wasn't consensual.
Could you help us find the hadith where? Yours.
My question for you is, do you say the Old Testament is valid, yes or no? Because there are clear verses there which say to go into certain towns, kill all the men and enslave all the women and children. So either you are agreeing slavery was valid in the context of the Old Testament, or you are disavowing the Old Testament. So which is it?
Right. So, firstly, this is a fallacious argument.
How?
I'm going to explain. If my boat has holes in it and your boat has holes in it, you pointing to the holes in my boat doesn't mean your boat doesn't have holes in it. Right? Okay. That's the first thing. Okay? So you've still got to deal with the fact that Muhammad traded in slaves and allowed women to be raped, and we're going to find you the reference in a second.
With that.
I'm going to show you Muhammad did.
I'm going to show you Muhammad did. In certain hadith, it doesn't necessarily mean I believe it happened. I'm not a slave to the hadith. We're commanded in the Quran to use our brains to reach our own conclusions about what is true and what is false, as long as it's not in blatant contradiction to the Quran, yeah?
And the hadiths.
That is again a matter of opinion.
Right.
There are Quran alone Muslims.
Are you a Quran alone Muslim?
I am just someone who believes God is one, and I try to live a good life on this earth. I don't go into all these historical things. I believe in prayer. I believe in charity. I believe in kindness. I believe in fasting. I believe in the pillars. I do not throw away all the good things because of a few potentially contentious hadith which I am not knowledgeable enough to comment on. So for me, I know that without a belief in God, I was an unhappy person, I was suicidal, I had nothing to live for, no hope. I know that by Allah's mercy, I have been shown a way of life which I feel gives me a purpose and a positive one.
But the point is,
I'm now charitable.
And I laud all of that. But the point is, bro, you're stuck to a man that traded in slaves, traded in slaves. Yes, but you follow Muhammad.
Only
Muhammad.
To an extent.
So no, you follow all of his examples.
For example,
look, Ali Dawah will justify slavery.
Ali Dawah's
Ali Dawah will justify the raping of female captives.
Ali Dawah isn't like the boss of all Muslims, bro. He's
the guy that you wanted me to debate a few minutes ago, you're now distancing yourself from.
I'm not distancing myself. I'm saying
have we found
more knowledge than me.
Hadith, please.
I respect Brother Ali. I admire what he does, but I'm just saying that you can't act like he is somehow the king of Muslims, and we all agree with
Muhammad is, but the point is, bro.
He's not the king of Muslims.
Right. The point is, bro. The point. I never said that. I never said that.
Literally said he is.
No. Listen to what I'm saying.
Your words, mate.
Listen to what I'm saying. Muhammad is your example. Muhammad is your example. Muhammad is your example. So if he did it, you should be okay to do it.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
There are different times, different contexts.
So do you condemn the trading in slaves?
Have we not been over this 5 times?
Did Muhammad trade slaves?
Did he predominantly free them, buy them?
No, he traded in them.
So it wasn't encouraged to free.
Islam had the biggest slave trade history in the world.
We're picking on lay Muslims for.
No.
I've got it when you want it.
Right. What have you got it? Right. Let's go. Right. Listen, bro. Listen. You wanted. I'm going to get bro. Sahih al-Bukhari. Listen to this. Sahih al-Bukhari 83432. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, Allah was pleased with him, reported that at the Battle of Hunayn, Allah's messenger, may peace be upon him, sent an army to Otos. It's from the hadiths. It is from Muhammad.
You just literally
it's
said
Sahih,
it's
listen, which is from Muhammad, listen, that at the Battle of Hunayn, Allah's messenger, may peace be upon him, sent an army to Otos and encountered the enemy and fought with them, having overcome them and taken them captives. The companions of Allah's messenger, may peace be upon him, seemed to refrain from having intercourse with captive women because of their husbands being polytheists.
So
then Allah Most High sent down regarding, and women already married, except those whom your right hands possess. It is lawful for them when their iddah period has come to an end. So in other words, these women were married, they were captives, and Allah is saying you can have sex with them.
I don't
That's
think
rape.
Allah is saying that, but as my brother here is suggesting, why not debate someone with knowledge?
I have a better suggestion for you.
Like if Conor McGregor tried to fight me, it wouldn't be a fair fight.
I have a better suggestion for you. That you have the courage to think for yourself.
I do.
You go away and you research what has been said.
Literally have.
And you blatantly didn't, because you didn't even know that Muhammad permitted the rape of women.
I don't believe he did.
Then explain that verse.
I have fully been over this already. You're making
No,
the same
what did you
points
say?
over and over again.
What did you say?
That there are examples
No,
of when...
a contrary example is... No, deal with the example I gave, not a different example.
Stop talking and let
Right,
me
go on.
talk.
Yeah.
I've literally said that there are...
Other examples.
Oh my gosh, man. Bad-mannered, honestly.
You've been interrupting me consistently. Don't complain if you get interrupted.
All right, mate, cool.
Right, so dealing with other examples is not dealing with the example I gave you. I'm asking you to deal with my example, not one of your own inventions. Deal with my example.
I don't agree with your example.
So you disagree with Sahih al-Bukhari?
On this.
So do you disagree with Sahih al-Bukhari?
I disagree with you. So I would
Who's
like to
quoting
go
Sahih
and debate
al-Bukhari?
someone with knowledge. May peace be upon you. I wish you well.
So are you disagreeing with Sahih al-Bukhari? As you can see,
Wish you well too. You
they're
become a
wounded.
Christian, brother.
They're wounded, guys. What? Yeah, I'll debate you, bro. No, I'll debate you. No. Come and bring him over here then. So basically, guys, what you saw was another gullible Englishman who's never bothered to study what Islam teaches is trying to justify the rape of women by pointing to another example where Muhammad punished someone for having sex with a female captive. The point is, just pointing to another example doesn't deal with the example in front of your face.
What aboutism?
It's whataboutism. Muhammad permitted his followers to have sex with female captives who were still married. That is rape.
Shameful.
That is adultery.
Disgusting behavior.
And yet, the Muslims are trying to justify that by ignoring that example. The brother didn't know about childhood development and couldn't defend that Muhammad had sex with a 6-year-old child.
Disgusting.
Sorry, sex with a 9-year-old child, because he didn't know about childhood development. We don't need to follow Muhammad. We need to follow Jesus Christ, who is a better example to our society and a better example to us. Now, the brother talked about the Old Testament, and we really didn't get to dig into it. But the Old Testament writings are Old Covenant writings. The New Covenant is based on Jesus Christ. When Christians go out and preach the Christian faith, we don't say follow Moses. What we say is follow Jesus.
Amen.
Jesus didn't own a slave.
No.
Jesus didn't trade in slaves like Muhammad did. Jesus didn't marry a child like Muhammad did. Jesus didn't have sex with a child like Muhammad did. And what we have are Muslims embarrassed by their prophet and are trying to justify the actions of their prophet by either saying it was okay back then or he didn't do that. In other words, they're chucking their own sources under the bus, like this brother behind me did when he chucked Sahih al-Bukhari under the bus. We Christians don't suffer from this embarrassment. If you quote to us the example of Jesus Christ in the Gospels, we Christians will want to be like Jesus Christ,
Praise his name.
even to the point of death on a cross.
Bagaimana teman-teman? Cukup seru bukan? Kelihatannya mualaf itu cukup banyak memberikan pendapat yang berbeda dengan ajaran Islam. Dan terjadi penolakan pada dirinya mengenai pedofilia, yaitu berhubungan seks dengan anak-anak. Memang dia beralasan bahwa apa yang dilakukan Nabi Islam, yaitu Muhammad, dikarenakan norma yang berlaku pada zaman itu. Memang banyak sekali hal buruk yang menjadi kebiasaan ataupun norma-norma kehidupan yang ada pada zaman dulu. Tapi tentunya yang kita inginkan adalah menjadi lebih baik. Menjadi lebih baik daripada waktu dulu. Bukan malah mempertahankan norma-norma yang tidak baik itu dan menjadikan itu seolah-olah baik dan boleh dilakukan pada saat ini. Begitupun halnya dengan hal perbudakan. Hal ini juga harus dihapuskan karena sudah pasti tidak ada orang yang ingin diperbudak dan perbudakan itu tidak sesuai dengan HAM. Hal selanjutnya yang menjadi poin terpanas dari Bob adalah mengenai Muslim yang melakukan hubungan seks dengan tawanan perang yang sudah mempunyai suami. Selain dari hadits sahih Muslim yang ada di dalam video yang ditunjukkan oleh Bob, hal mengenai menggauli tawanan perang wanita yang sudah mempunyai suami juga ada di dalam Al-Quran, Surah An-Nisa ayat 24, yang artinya, dan diharamkan juga kamu mengawini dalam kurung wanita yang bersuami kecuali budak-budak yang kamu miliki. Jadi kalau Anda jadi budak dalam Islam, boleh dikawini. Mau jadi budak? Tentu tidak, bukan? Lalu kita lihat tafsir dari Kementerian Agama RI. Saya bacakan sebagian saja. Dan diharamkan juga menikahi perempuan yang sudah bersuami kecuali hamba sahaya perempuan bersuami yang secara khusus kamu dapatkan melalui tawanan perang. Jadi kalau tawanan perang boleh digauli. Selanjutnya dari tafsir Al-Jalalain, diharamkan mengawini wanita bersuami kecuali wanita-wanita yang kamu miliki, yakni hamba-hamba sahaya yang tertawan, maka mereka boleh kamu gauli walaupun mereka punya suami di negeri perang. Selanjutnya dari Ibnu Katsir, diharamkan mengawini wanita bersuami kecuali budak-budak yang kalian miliki melalui tawanan perang, dihalalkan menggauli mereka. Jadi seperti yang kita lihat dari hadits Al-Quran dan penafsiran, baik itu penafsiran Kementerian Agama Indonesia, Jalalain, dan juga Ibnu Katsir mengatakan hal yang sama, yaitu boleh menggauli tawanan wanita walaupun sudah memiliki suami. Hanya Mualaf Inggris itu yang mencoba menolak hal itu. Kita doakan saja semoga dia menyelidiki dengan sungguh-sungguh dan segera menyadari dan memutuskan untuk mengikuti ajaran itu atau meninggalkannya. Baiklah teman-teman, sekian dulu untuk kali ini. Sampai jumpa lagi dengan video-video selanjutnya. Dukung channel ini dengan like dan subscribe. Silakan tulis komentar Anda dan tetap semangat.